You are not going to believe some of the things that came out of my mouth at the start of the season. I am still in shock, but we are going to react to them together from 20th down to my prediction for first. But first things first, I've got to say, thank you. Thank you so much. Obviously, we're at the end of the season, and hopefully it's an opportunity for me to do that. I just wanted to say that, like, the opportunities I get to, I'm having right now, I've got so much fuel for it, and I want to do it so well and squeeze everything out of it. And it's because of you guys, because you've given me the opportunity to do the things that we're doing with the Premier League, Spotify, BBC, and some things to come as well. So I want to take the opportunity to just say a massive thank you. The fact that you've got it in you to spend a little bit of time with me on this channel, it's literally life-changing every single season, and I don't take it for granted. So thank you. I look forward to tens of years, decades together. But I will never take it for granted either. Right, let's have some fun. So in 20th spot, I went for Leicester City. I said, where are the goals? And obviously you'll all remember that difficult period of the season when they literally could not get themselves a goal at home. Maybe not the most outrageous take. I actually, if you remember the prediction video, we spoke about sort of key clusters of fixtures.
October 5th, you've got Bournemouth, then Southampton, then Nottingham Forest, and then Ipswich.
And actually they got some points from that, but it meant nothing at the end of it. Changes of manager and just a squad that didn't have the energy or the quality to get them anywhere near staying up this season. In 19th, I went for Southampton. Actually, of course, they finished in 20th. And what I said was this.
What needs to be remembered here is how your confidence gets knocked as a group.
And confidence certainly was a problem. A lot of people are going to go, you're going to be like Burnley last year.
I think they'll do much better than that. I think they'll be a lot more savvy than that.
Wow, that is a honker. I mean, Southampton, it just went wildly wrong. Wildly wrong when it comes to getting points. I think actually the performances weren't too bad, but to be fair, I was wrong on that. I think everyone, the parallels with what Vincent Kompany was looking to do and what Russell Martin initially was trying to do were very similar. They were trying to play their way out, and yeah, obviously it didn't work, right? Or in Russell Martin's case, it didn't kick into gear in time.
3 of the 4 opening home games for Southampton are absolutely crucial and winnable, and they have to be won.
Forest, they lost. Man United, they lost. Ipswich, they drew. Leicester City, they lost. Yeah, early games at the start of the season where they really need to get some points on the board. And I think that's it for those teams that come up. To give yourself any kind of real belief, you can't be chasing. You can't be so cut adrift. It just makes life so hard. And Southampton have obviously been nowhere near it. In 18th spot, I said Ipswich Town. They actually finished 19th. So I got the bottom 3 correct. I did think it would be the newly promoted teams that would miss out.
October, you got West Ham, Everton, Brentford, and Leicester. That's a lovely little cluster.
They didn't win any of those games. And it's funny, isn't it? Because I think you might look at sort of certain areas of the season based on like the calendar year. But actually, I think it is about these key clusters, because you'll see later in the video that actually certain teams, if they just been able to hang on and get a little bit more out of certain clusters of games, it could have made just an enormous difference for them. I asked if they could keep this intensity up in the Premier League. I think they attempted to do that, but almost at a cost. The signings I thought were sensible and smart, and I think going into next season will be sensible and smart. They will absolutely be the favourites to go straight back up. They will be expected by many, I think, to get 100 points. If if you think of what we've seen in recent years with Fulham and Burnley, and did Leicester do it last year? But like, you've got to be getting like high 90s now. I did say this though.
Liam Delap remains to be seen. That's a lot of money for him.
That's a lot of money for him. Well, yeah, look, I think obviously with the clause, it's not going to be a lot of money for him from the next level. He's definitely proven that he is a Premier League quality striker. I'm really excited by him, but I think it's been one where the overall spotlight and pressure that a striker has to undergo, it's something that he probably has been able to stay away from this year, because he has been the bright light in a Ipswich team that has been really struggling. So we will see with that, but I think he has all the tools, and it feels like he's got the mentality to be pretty outrageous. Is he that killer in the box? Can we see the total output? As good as he's been this season, we've not seen big numbers from him. So time will tell. Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark. I need to get a little bit better with my predictions, and thus I need a little bit more knowledge and I need a bit more freedom, and that's why I need Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN, a virtual private network that keeps your online data safe by encrypting all of the data between the device and the internet. This is absolutely crucial when using public Wi-Fi, as it keeps those pesky cyber criminals well away. But the great thing about Surfshark VPN is that you can change your real location to any location around the world, over 3,200 servers in well over 100 countries. And this means that you can access new content by exploring the Netflix libraries of Japan, USA, Australia, etc. If you're on holiday and you can't watch your favorite sporting event, then you can change your location back to the UK. Or if your team is playing abroad during pre-season and you want to be able to watch up those warm-up games so you can get your predictions right, Surfshark's the one for you. But seriously, masking your IP address is essential in becoming private online. A VPN ensures your city, country, and download history isn't linked to your identity. And the final thing that sets Surfshark apart and provides even more value is that you can use your Surfshark VPN on unlimited devices. So if you currently don't have a VPN, it just makes sense to have one to watch what you want, where you want, safely. So go to www.surfshark.com/Allcott or use the code Allcott at checkout to get 4 extra months on your Surfshark VPN. That's surfshark.com/Allcott. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's absolutely no risk. So why not give Surfshark a go? Links in the description. Right, stinker alert, here it comes. First, and I've got to learn. And I say it all season long. I go, don't ever go against Brentford. They're too smart for you. And they were again. I said Brentford would be in 17th spot.
But if there is one team that could get dragged into it, it is Brentford.
They ended in 10th, but actually it was joint 9th. I don't know if I can take this or not. I can try and spin it.
Damsgaard needs to be better.
And he was absolutely outstanding, both with the ball and without the ball. The movement, the through balls, totally complete this season.
The fullbacks position, you've got two great ones there in Hickey and Henry, but can they stay fit?
And Rico Henry, 5 games. Hickey, 9 games. Didn't matter. Incredible from Brentford this season. Just continue to astound me with their recruitment, their positivity, and the output. But can they do it again? And will I fall for doubting them again? Or is it time to doubt them? It is. It can mess with you, this. I had Everton in 16th spot. They actually finished 13th. Great finish to the season. I said that with Sean Dyche there, I think it gives them a real chance. I thought that they'd created a bit of a platform there. I also said that key player was Calvert-Lewin, and if you've got a striker who can score goals, you could be much higher. Calvert-Lewin wasn't that guy this season for whatever reason it might be, and is it one where can he get himself back to that place of kind of certainty in front of goal? Only 3 goals for him, but if you think of David Moyes, yes, a huge change in him being able to get the best out of a striker. Enormous change as well. Beto, 8 goals, and he's been brilliant in the second half of the season. So the striker did make a bit of a difference, but more importantly, David Moyes getting the best out of it. Wrong on Sean Dyche, I guess, in terms of how it was working with Everton. The feeling wasn't right there, and so that initial platform, they weren't able to springboard from there, but I am really excited about them next year, the next couple of years. I think a change is coming, and I think they've hit that bottom, they've found that turning point, and now the haven of the new ground. I think it will be a good thing. I don't think it'll be a bad thing. I think it'll be a great thing. Another stinker on its way, but I think most creators, anyone who did their predictions, weren't putting Forest much higher than this. Whoever did, well done. But I did say some all right stuff here. So 15th spot for Nottingham Forest. Of course, they ended up finishing in 7th spot. I said this.
This season is defined for me by the opening games. The opening 3 games, which are Bournemouth at home, Southampton away, and Wolves at home.
So against Bournemouth, they drew 1-1. Against Southampton, they won 1-0. And against Wolves, they drew 1-1. I also said that I think this team has the ability to go and beat any team in the Premier League. And that did prove to be so. It was one where the stock of those players, there was a lot of pedigree knocking about there. And there is for a lot of Premier League teams. But to get it together, I said, listen.
And it's a case of kind of, all right, you've had your time now. It's time to really show us who you are as a group.
And that is it. I mean, again, fortunate on my part, but they really did show that this year. You felt that, didn't you? You You could feel the camaraderie within the group. And that obviously comes from winning games, but also sticking together to win those games, because it was about the collective a lot of the time. This I have to apologise for. Nuno, I got it wrong.
I am concerned about the manager. If you swap Nuno Espirito Santo for me with Marco Silva, I think I'm so much more excited about this team.
The concern, that was wrong, because obviously it's gone so right for Nottingham Forest. So happy to hold my hands up there. And his man management seems to be outstanding as well from what you've seen. And maybe I was sort of clouded by the Spurs time. I think you've got to be honest and say, like, is it really, really, really exciting? I guess it is, because you're winning games. Would I be more excited watching a Fulham game with Marco Silva? Probably, because that's the kind of players and the kind of football he plays. So I sort of stand by that. But yeah, got it totally wrong with Nuno. But I said this as well. Overall, it's a squad that I like, but it's a manager that I don't trust. Do I still trust them? I think, look, Nuno is absolutely a Premier League manager. And I think with high quality players like he has got here, buying and working together, you can do something pretty special, which is what they've done. I'm intrigued to see if they can go again next year and have the same kind of, consistent 1-0 wins and be able to shut out teams again. That's going to be really, really interesting. But this is a manager that's taken teams to Europe now. I can't not trust him anymore. I had Wolves in 14th. They actually finished in 16th place, but it was a great finish under Pereira. And of course, Gary O'Neill was the manager going into the season. And I said this.
Gary O'Neill has done wonders there, done absolutely brilliantly. I think he's fostered clearly a great spirit within the team. I trust in Gary O'Neill. That's how I felt at the time. I thought Gary O'Neill had something there. And I said, I think they'll go under the radar. I think the reason it's interesting, that's why I wanted to do these key clusters of fixtures. By the way, Wolves have an absolutely stinking first 2 months of the season. Arsenal, Chelsea, then Nottingham Forest, Newcastle at home, Aston Villa, and then Liverpool.
So I was saying you got to stick with Gary O'Neill to get yourself out of it. I don't think I realised how much going on that bad run, and I think the performances married with that really took the stuffing out of this Wolves team, and then therefore you kind of needed a new guy in with new ideas to get something out of them, because I think Gary O'Neill felt like he was being let down.
Wolves fans, don't panic, all right? If it goes bad to start with, believe in Gary.
The belief in Gary absolutely waned, but Pereira got it done and did fantastically to do that. Got that team just with a nice balance and showcasing the quality that they had. In 13th spot, Fulham. They actually finished 11th, 2 spots ahead. Marco Silva, I said, was one of the most underrated managers in the league. I continue to believe that. I think he is destined to manage a top side. I think he just needs to be given that opportunity.
That big Polina-shaped hole that is in this team, I think they will be hurt very, very heavily in central areas if they do not sort that out.
With this one, it shows how well coached they are. Because to have the players that they had in the team and to just have that single pivot really in Sander Berge and to get away with it, it shows the kind of the ability to lean on that technical quality that Marco Silva was capable of doing, and it working as well. Also some big defensive performances from Calvin Bassey, Anderson, and as I said, Sander Berge as well. And a team that works hard. I think all played a part.
I don't think they have the striking power to do that. I don't really believe in Raul Jimenez anymore in terms of scoring 15 goals a season.
That's harsh. He's gone through a lot, hasn't he? Sorry, I didn't believe in him to score 15 goals a season anymore. And I stand by it. You know why? Because he scored 12. Not good enough. It's not good enough. 3 more I needed for utter trust. Previous Jim's a bit of a dick, isn't he? 12th spot, I went for Bournemouth. Who actually, of course, finished in 9th, 56 points. And I said this at the time, actually.
I actually had Bournemouth probably a bit higher. A good couple of places higher. And maybe, go on, no. It's not going to happen because of Solanke going.
Obviously, Solanke went, but Evan-Nielsen came in. And I think what's really interesting about Bournemouth is the amount of goals from substitutes, because it shows that the freshness of the hybrid profiles that they've got meant that you could chuck in different players at different times and you kind of got the same output overall, and it allowed you to continue to score goals. Evan Nilsson has been an absolutely incredible signing for them. Really, really good. And I think if he has another injury-free season, or can have an injury-free season and continues to score goals, I think you've got a player that, again, you're going to end up selling, but for a juicy amount of money, there's nothing wrong with that if you're Bournemouth. Speaking of recruitment, I said this.
Their recruitment in terms of manager and the team itself has been absolutely fantastic.
Obviously, utterly stand by that. January, a crucial month, I said. They got a draw against Chelsea, beat Newcastle United, and beat Forest 5-0. It was probably the apex for this Bournemouth side, especially the Newcastle and the Forest wins back-to-back. I said if they got a good start, I think they could be one of those that initially shine, but then maybe fade away a little bit. And hey, give me that. If you shoot enough, you are going to hit something. Crystal Palace let me down. I said you're going to finish 11th. You finished 12th. I said this.
I think it's a good squad. I think it's a great manager, but I think the depth is maybe not there.
I think I stand by that overall. I think if there wasn't like a wholehearted injury crisis, I think it would really, really hurt them. In terms of the recruitment, I said this.
My problem with Ismail Assar, in terms of him replacing someone like Elise, he's a little bit one-dimensional.
Two things can be true, and I think on this occasion it's right. But I think what we're seeing here, both with Fulham and now with Crystal Palace, is, don't doubt the manager to have a plan or to find a plan. And I think with this one, obviously Nketiah came through the door, but in terms of the balance of this Palace team that has finished the season so strongly, yes, look, Elise is not one-dimensional, and he's gone to Bayern Munich, and he's shown that he is a world-class footballer. Like, simple. But Ismail Assar being one-dimensional, sure, but if he can fit into the system in the right way, then you can still have a team that's thriving. And that's what came to be. I was wondering where he would be, but obviously instead of it being that width and that drive, it was about being maybe that tucked in a little bit to give you that verticality, let's say, for want of a fancy tactical word, that he can stretch the game from those deep runs. And he did that. 37 games, 7 goals, 6 assists, great season, and a really good signing. Brighton, I had in 10th. They actually finished 8th. I said this.
When it gets to May, what will they be playing for? And will they be going for those European places?
Now, they kind of just about let it slip in terms of those, out-and-out places, because, of course, more places have been available to the Premier League teams this year because of everything that's happened and the impressive European displays. But Brighton finished the season really, really well, like crazy well. Like, drew against Newcastle, beat Wolves, beat Liverpool, beat Tottenham as well. And you just wish they hadn't let themselves down a little bit earlier in the season, because I think they would have been right up there. I think Brighton fans, let me know in the comments. I reckon you're disappointed, aren't you, with the squad that you've got? I think you feel, especially with where you finished and how you finished, you could have been above. You could have got to 68 points. I think there's definitely 7 points that you've left, out there. I obviously said this.
Players with attacking depth there, both in the forward position. You've got Welbeck, who I really, really like.
He had a good season. Welbeck, 30 games, 10 goals, 4 assists. Does sort of divide opinion with a few Brighton fans, but I think he plays a really important role for the team. I said, I think they're going to be lots of fun. We knew Hörsler coming in. We'd done videos on it. We'd looked at him and how he was going to play, and he did play like that. But I wondered if they were going to concede a few too many goals, and they had the 14th most goals conceded. If I think the control can be there a little bit more, and maybe you can dominate teams and score those goals a little bit more early, it is a Brighton team that can really, I do believe in it. But maybe just a year too early, which is why I had them where I had them. Right. Wow. Okay. You ready? I'm fine. No, I'm okay. West Ham, 9th. Listen to this.
They could go on one hell of a run. No Europe, spent 100 million, could have a forward line of Kudus, Bowen on the other side, Fulkrug through the middle.
I mean, those are still 3 good players. But obviously it didn't come together. I also said this, which if you're a West Ham fan, you thought you were going to do well this year, you might like to hear this. West Ham fans, I have no problem with you believing that this team could get into those European places and maybe,
one of a few, I think, could get Champions League football.
Yep, 14th. Ugly, ugly, ugly season for West Ham. Turgid performances, lack of energy. a lot of sort of names, and the age of the squad is a little touch of a concern overall. Potter's got to get his hands on it, and he's really, really got to start well. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult for him. But the squad isn't bad. Champions League quality, apparently, according to younger Jim. In 8th spot, Aston Villa, who actually ended up finishing 6th, or joint 5th, actually. And it was one of those ones where, and I think this is why Aston Villa, I think you've got to really reflect on this season, and you've got to be really proud, I think, because going into it, and that's how I like to look at the end of the season, is what was I really thinking going into it? I said this.
And I think with a rise in expectation and with more games in terms of European football, I think it could be a little bit tough for them.
Like, it's a lot of games, and it was tough. I said this, I kind of got this one right.
November's going to be crucial for them because European football, Tottenham, Liverpool, Palace and Chelsea in amongst those big games.
This is where the strain of European football, you see it at the end of the season if you go back and look. Because lost to Spurs, lost to Bruges, lost to Liverpool, drew with Palace, drew with Juventus, lost to Chelsea. And Chelsea, obviously, in and amongst them, get a draw there, get a win against Palace, and it's all different. And obviously, every single game matters. But that is something, when you reflect on the amount of games and just expecting them to be robots, I think there are sort of pinch points, and November was definitely one. I also said this.
Overall, there's absolutely no reason why they can't do well. Morgan Rogers has been phenomenal in pre-season.
Rogers had a cracking season. 8 goals, 10 assists, constant, lovely little rolls of players and taking them out of the game, gorgeous dribbles. One of my favourite players in the Premier League right now. He's come from nowhere and now is utterly established in that Aston Villa team. And as one of the most exciting players in the league, let's be honest. Chelsea had 7th. I don't even remember that, but obviously I did. They finished 4th. Top 4 for Chelsea. Great achievement. Really, really good achievement for Maresca to kind of come in. Pochettino had done well, obviously. And I said this.
You've got individuals there. Can those individuals thrive in a better system? That is what Maresca should provide.
He certainly provided clarity when it came to that system, to the point where, and I think the profiles of the team overall, it's really, really strong. And of course, there's good depth there, and depth that's only going to mature. So it's a good time to be a Chelsea fan, I think, now after what's been quite a weird time. It's actually a really, really good squad.
Will he be able to keep it together? That comes from a good start to the season.
I think that was bang on, to be fair, because I think if you think about it, Chelsea's first 16 games, 10 wins, 4 draws, 2 losses. Yes, they fell off in sort of January, February. And that is something that I feel like we see it every year, and I feel like we hear about Chelsea fans being really despondent every January, February, March. But part of that was, Nicholas Jackson being out, Madueke being out, a few players being out. That's definitely kind of hurt him, I think, in that period of time. But I think because of that great start, it gave him the credit in the bank to kind of get through that patch and finish the season really, really strongly against really difficult opposition and get himself in the top 4. So I think it's definitely a successful season for Chelsea. You can tell I don't want to say it, can't you? Ready for a howler? Here it comes. And there's a few, as you could guess. Man United, I said, would be 6th. Of course, they ended up finishing, let me just scroll down, 15th.
Manchester United's squad overall concerns me a little bit, but I think the business that's been done are in integral areas and I think will make a massive difference for them.
Yeah. Got that wrong. Got this right.
Bruno Fernandes to thrive, and I think he will have a phenomenal season.
36 goal involvements in all competitions, and look, we've all seen him play. He's been kind of carrying that team all on his own. So but he has been as well. So maybe not the biggest stretch in terms of a take that I can somehow try and keep my reputation intact with. I said this as well.
I thought the Community Shield kind of bumped them up a couple of spots for me. I thought they were really, really impressive, and we're starting to see a bit of an identity there.
We didn't get to see it for long. And Ten Hag needed to start well. A bit like Amorim next year, right?
That third game is Liverpool. You don't want to go into that third game at home against Liverpool with a similar story because it starts to create the heat that's been there throughout.
Brighton, lose. Liverpool, lose 3-0. Yeah. Again, when you think of these pinch points of the season that have a ripple effect. Great podcast. Go check it out. It's on Spotify. It's everywhere, really. It's on the More James Allcott channel. Go subscribe to that whilst you're there. Hit the like button. But when that you do have that bad start, it then just changes the feel. I think it'd be interesting, like, how differently would we be talking about Man United now if they just won that final? Because the feeling around Spurs, which we're going to get onto, is clearly different. Newcastle, got you right, lads. Hoo-yah, man! Said 5th, finished 5th. Happy days. I said Isak could utterly kill it this season. He utterly killed it this season. 23 goals, 6 assists. Lovely to see that. And Joe, I think this is my shining moment of the video. I said this.
The squad building is coming, and I don't think there'll be the same strain on this squad. And so I think Eddie Howe will be allowing them to play the way he really, really wants them to, like we saw 2 seasons ago.
And we did. Come on!
From mid-April to the second to last game of the season. Last game of the season, Everton at home. Those are huge games, and they're going to be even bigger because I think they're going to be right in the run-in for those Champions League spots this year.
I mean, I'm absolutely amazed they didn't get the win against Everton, but maybe that's got to give the plaudits to Everton for kind of hanging in there, because I thought they would get it done at St James's Park, but they overall got it done. Okay, and that makes me look just a touch better. So I will take it with both hands. I think it's a really exciting Newcastle team, and I think they're only going to get better. Tottenham. Ooh, Tottenham. I said they'd finish 4th. They finished 17th. Lost 22 games. I said this.
I think the squad building is really good. I think you've got Ange in his second season here.
Well, he does win things in his second season, and he did. So
I'm a huge believer of Ange, and I think he could do wonders this season.
And he did do wonders in a way, didn't he? Forget league season for a second. He won a trophy. That is what's been thrown in Spurs fans' faces for as long as certainly I've been making content. That's gone now. I'm intrigued to see what they can do. Can they get back up to those places? Is that where they should be? I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because there is a culture of losing games for both Man United and Spurs. So to just draw a line and wash that away, I'm not sure it's that simple. Obviously, you've got the pre-season to change that. Also, Spurs absolutely, and Man United, threw in the towel when it came to the league season once it got to the latter stages of the Europa League. So you can take a pinch of salt there. And talk about the squad building, the injuries that have occurred for them, that's a lot of players that have then got some minutes. Obviously, Jed Spence is now a part of the squad. Archie Gray, Bergvall, a lot of players there have had some games, and that could actually bear fruit. In 3rd spot, I went for Liverpool. I think I was kind of being safe here because I knew it was obviously a good squad. I said this about Arne Slot.
I really like Arne Slot. I think they're going to play obviously a different brand of football to Klopp, but I think it's the refreshment that actually this Liverpool squad that needs to create its own identity needs.
I think that's interesting. I think that's kind of right. I think he's kind of stood off and allowed Van Dijk to be that leader more so than ever. Salah to be the main man more so than ever. Szoboszlai to step up as a leader in this team. In terms of that identity of the team, it's not based around the tactics or the manager. It's based around the players. So that did age pretty well.
The opening set of fixtures could absolutely lead to Arne Slot, hypermania. They're definitely going to win the league.
And they did start brilliantly, didn't they? Win against Ipswich, win against Brentford, win against Man United. Big statement, the Man United victory. But also they were able to keep calm and carry on really, really well through the sort of November, December months. I said Salah looks fantastic in pre-season. He'll score 20 goals. I mean, he always scores 20 goals, but I think we felt like in pre-season in particular, it was all roads led to Salah, whereas the year before it was a bit more about kind of can we get it to Darwin Núñez. And Salah's stats speak for themselves: 29 goals and 18 assists. Incredible. Interesting, this concern that I had.
I do think they are just a little bit short when it comes to composure.
The burden of that composure was kind of taken away because Salah was just getting it done. You know, week after week, goals and assists, you know, both in the same game, winners for the team. And I think that allowed the rest of the team to show that little bit more confidence, because I think in terms of composure, Luis Diaz didn't always have it. Gakpo was able to get that confidence up by being in a position that he absolutely loved, and also Salah being able to find him for probably more simple goals than he would have had to have scored otherwise. Darwin Núñez, that was a composure problem as well. But again, it didn't matter because Salah was just so sensational. Got another one right. Arsenal second. Sorry, I didn't mean to celebrate that. Arsenal fans, obviously, you're pretty disappointed with that. And of course, you did finish in second spot. I said this about you guys.
Arsenal have improved, certainly defensively. I don't think they're going to concede many.
That was proved to be correct. They conceded the least goals in the league by quite a margin, actually. 7 goals, I think it was, at the end of it. Just conceding 34 goals all season long. I also said this, though.
That chance creation on that left-hand side is not totally there. Martinelli had a poor season last season, needs to be better this season.
You know, obviously we spoke earlier in the video about Damsgaard. He needed to be better, young Jim said. And he did. Martinelli, 8 goals, 4 assists. You know, that form that we saw a couple of years ago wasn't there. There needs to be a real level up, or if not, he needs to be replaced, sadly.
Have they got that out-and-out star power? I'm just not seeing it.
That kind of came to be. Look, injuries, like major injuries, and a lot of sendings off as well. I think that plays a huge, huge part in Arsenal's season. It absolutely does. And of those injuries, more so than ever, Saka. But in that lies the truth of needing more star power elsewhere. Odegaard's had a very poor season, in my opinion. I'm surprised by that, and I'm intrigued to see if he can get back to the right kind of mental vigour. I feel like I'm not seeing that on the pitch when it comes to his confidence to try things and do things and feel free on the pitch. They are an incredibly well-coached team. But I still think for them to win the league, some star power needs to come in and that striker needs to come in for them. So I stick by what I said. If you want to see a video all about the 5 years of Arteta and how he has evolved from an attacking point of view, there is a video on the channel. Go and check that one out. And of course, last but not least, or first but actually third, Man City.
We know what Man City are. They're going to get 90 points.
Well, they actually ended up getting 71 points. 71. And they won 4 of the last 5 games of the season. I think that is incredible for them to have that kind of drop-off. And of course, Rodri, I think I didn't realise it was that much of a house of cards. I thought that was a kind of lazy analysis to think that without Rodri, they don't win games. Without Rodri, they didn't win games. It took a solid transfer window to make some of those changes to kind of get past it. There are still things that need to be changed. I think physicality and a bit more dominance in transition, both attacking and defensively, is what Pep Guardiola is going to be focusing on in the summer, and how he keeps his philosophy whilst adding that bit of spark, change in rhythm that he speaks about as well. But an absolute disaster of a season for them to be, essentially 20 points off where we expect them to be generally, but still got Champions League football. So kind of got away with it, but it's good for the game because we know what Man City are. They're going to get 90 points. Wrong, Jim. You're an idiot. If you think I'm a mug, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching this season. And look, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here forevermore. Love you. Say it back. Say it back in the comments. Say you love me back. Do it.